Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and I'm back yet again with another collection update. Yes, I've been spending yet more pennies on more vinyl. I have a little assortment here of very nice vinyl articles which I've recently picked up. Been, doing a bit more shopping. All thrash, all vinyl, all are great albums, absolutely worth checking out if you haven't already. And if you can pick up these bargains, then I would strongly recommend doing so. First up, we've got a brilliant album, I must say. It's certainly grown on me over time. I had the CD in the collection for many years. This is, of course, the mighty Exodus Bay Area thrash gods. Titans of thrash. This is the Atrocity Exhibition, Exhibit A. Recently showed off Exhibit B, which is a brilliant album. Came a couple of years later. I think this is the 8th album from the band. I can't quite recall off the top of my head, but it's a great one. It's a very long album, an hour plus, hour and change. But actually, it's a really solid album. As I say, had the CD for many years, but it was one that I didn't very frequently come back to. Still thought it was a good album, but I'll admit I tended to gravitate towards the earlier era, the first maybe 3-4 albums. But this one recently stumbled upon. It's a gatefold double vinyl, of course, courtesy of Nuclear Blast. Nice gatefold there. Good, bold, eye-catching logo and artwork on the front and the back. We've got some particularly cracking tracks here. We've got the short and sharp. After the intro called Arms, we've got Riot Act, which is a punchy tune. We've got some tracks that are much longer, but they are seriously formidable, like Funeral Hymn, Children of a Worthless God. We've got some brilliant riffs in these albums, in these tracks, both part A and part B. I will say they are littered with some truly stunning riffs, courtesy of course, we've got a good lineup shot in here. Of course, we've got the awesome Gary Holt, such a good guitarist, alongside Lee Altus. An incredible riff duo. Of course, this is one of the Rob Duke's vocal albums from his era. He's now back with the band. Been a pretty changeable lineup over the years, but great album actually. It's really, really grown on me. And I will show the little colour scheme here. Unlike the Part B album, which does include a bonus track on that version, I think, this is just the album, although the album is stretched across sides A, B, and C, which leads me to believe that side D is likely to be the bonus that you get on the CD version, which is that strange sort of bonded by banjo medley. I don't know for sure, but that's my suspicions. So the colour scheme is like a cool sort of metallic silver. Very nice. Very, very cool. I like it. Looks the part. Great album. Great album, I must say. It's certainly not my favourite Exodus album, but to be honest, it's just a really good album. Again, it's the length of the album is the only sort of real challenge there. The fact that, I don't know, I personally feel optimum album length tends to be somewhere between like 40 to 50 minutes, but it doesn't overstay its welcome at all. It's still a really good album. Particular highlights, I'd say Children of a Worthless God, Funeral Hymn rather is brilliant, and the Atrocity Exhibition is a beastly undertaking. So yeah, all round, a great album. Nice article to have on vinyl. Steadily building up my Exodus vinyl collection. Now, sticking with Bay Area and Legends, and we've got another band that, to be honest, I've been getting steadily more into over the years, although this band, more so than Exodus, certainly, has been a little bit of a gap in my knowledge. So this is Death Angel, with their 4th album, The Art of Dying, from 2004, I believe. So I've been aware of Death Angel, and I'd say a fan of Death Angel, these thrashers, for many years. The first album I heard was Relentless Retribution. I really, really dig that album. Still love it. Picked that up. Dream Calls for Blood as well, the follow-up. Really enjoyed that. And I kind of left it at that. There's so many bands around. There's so many albums out there to get familiar with. Didn't actually really delve that much into Death Angel until fairly recently. I thought, no, I owe it to Death Angel to actually delve into their catalogue. And this was one that I checked out online. And I actually really enjoy this one a lot. I was surprised because it's still a heavy album. Still thrashing. But it's not their most thrash, or it's certainly not as heavy as some of the albums that came a bit later, but it has got some really good songs. So track wise, particular highlights for me, and ones that really almost justified picking up the vinyl. You don't seem to be able to get a CD version all that easily, or all that reasonably priced anyway. So stumbled upon the vinyl. The vinyl was much cheaper, and also it's a really cool color scheme again courtesy of Nuclear Blast here. But the opening track, Thrown to the Wolves, is really great, as is 5 Steps of Freedom. The Devil Incarnate is probably, for me, the album highlight. That alone was reason enough to buy the album. Such a weird, ominous track. Famine's a good one. No is quite a catchy number. Land of Blood. It's actually a really decent album. And I feel like it's a little bit of an underrated album, certainly. So I've actually now managed to pick up all of Death Angel's albums on CD, or this one on vinyl. But this is quite an interesting colour scheme. So it's kind of like a transparent orange. Still cool. I'd like to have just found a CD, but actually this was, I can't even remember how much it was now, about £15. So I thought that's not too bad. That's not too bad, to be fair. For a nice gatefold reissue, Nuclear Blast, nice thing to have, and it's a pretty big sounding album. So actually it's one that translates pretty well on vinyl, if I can actually get it back in the sleeve in one piece. I will also say, got our lineup shot here, that Mark, and I believe it's Osaguida, vocalist, who's of course fronting, doing vocals for Kerry King's solo band as well now. He's got a great voice, and he sounds really good on this album. Guitar's great, drums are great. It's a good solid lineup. So yeah, Death Angel, definitely one to check out. The Art of Dying, very solid album. So we're sticking thrash, but we're going way over into Europe now. We're going to Germany. We're going to the Teutonic thrash vastlands, and we're going with one of the most criminally underrated thrash bands of all time, in my opinion. I've picked up 2 recent reissues from the mighty Tankard. I freaking love Tankard. I have all of their albums on CD. I have the vast majority of their albums also on vinyl now over the years I've picked up. They're a great band. They, of course, that you don't even have to look at these album covers to see quite evidently that they are not entirely overly serious. They are quite light-hearted with some songs, not all songs, definitely not, certainly not in latter years. They are quite comical. There's lots of songs about drinking beer and then crapping yourself, about aliens, about all sorts of crazy, bizarre things. They're a really good band, but they are entertaining, yes. Really good musicians, good songwriters. The material is always really catchy. And actually, I just personally feel they're so overlooked. Tankard are a great band. You always hear like the German Teutonic Thrash 3 or the Teutonic 3 of Thrash. Whatever. It should definitely be the Teutonic 4. And Tankard, they're a great band. I've loved Tankard for many, many years. I can remember got into them through picking up a CD of The Morning After with the Alien EP. And that was many, many moons ago. I must have been like 14, 15. And I just loved it. I loved it because it's ripping thrash. Great thrash. but you know, good heavy metal elements in there, speed metal, all that stuff. Just really good songs, really memorable stuff. So through Reaper Entertainment, we've got reissues of 2 albums, the standalones. I think there's a box set available, and the sort of the Tankard strange covers thing that they did. But you've got reissues of Kings of Beer. And it's annoying because I always get these two the wrong way around. Kings of Beer in terms of which one came first, and Disco Destroyer. So I've got both of these on CD. Argentinian imports from way back when. But these are really nice reissues in interesting colour schemes. So you've got nice cool inserts there from the Kings of Beer. This is Kings of Beer first up. And nice insert, lyric insert there. This is really cool colour scheme. I personally think it is anyway. This is sort of, it's meant to be like a beer effect. I think that's cool. I think that really stands out. I love this album. Of these two, of Disco Destroyer rather, and Kings of Beer, this is my preferred album, but they are both brilliant. Kicks off with a hilarious, absolute ripper, Flirting with Disaster, which is one of the songs about crapping yourself. Love it. We've got Dark Exile, which is a great one. Hot Dog Inferno, which is hilarious. I love the anthemic Kings of Beer title track. Talk Show Prostitutes, you know, an inkling that actually there's a bit more depth in there. You know, they're tackling other subject other than just drinking beer. Incredible Loudness is a great one. Land of the Free, Tattoo Coward, I should say. This is a really good album. You know, it's decent thrash, bit of a heavy metal, speed metal vibe in there as well. It's just really solid, criminally underrated. So we've got this nice 2024 reissue of Kings of Beer. It was quite pricey when they came out, but in recent months I've noticed it kind of went down quite a bit. So I picked them both up. Also got Disco Destroyer. Again, just single sleeves, but really nice, really elaborate. They've both got different artworks to the original album, CDs. Probably should have got those props out. How easy would they be to get hold of? Nope, they're way down near the bottom of the shelf. Actually, that's the original for Disco Destroyer. Very cool. I think this might have been the first one, actually, in fairness. 98. Yeah, cracking album. This one's an interesting one because it's actually it's a glow in the dark. I think it was tagged as like alien green or something. So obviously it's not dark, so it's just clear at the moment. But in the dark, it's got yellow, sort of greeny bands to it. Interesting. Just a cool album to have on vinyl. Again, it's a good album. We've got, if I get the track list there, we've got some decent tracks. Serial Killer's good. The sort of web address, Planet Wide Suicide's a great one. Queen of Hearts is good. Hilarious. Mr. Super Lover. There's some entertaining moments, and then there's others that are, you know, ripping thrash, more serious songs. Another Perfect Day, Death by Whips, Away, Face the Enemy, Disco Destroyer. It's solid stuff. You know, I love Tankard, and I'll be trumpeting Tankard for all my thrashing days because I think they're a great band. So underrated, a lot of fun, but actually, you listen to some of their latter albums or more recent albums, Pavlov's Dogs, Girl Called Savessa, Rest in Beer. You know, these albums, some of them actually have a bit more depth to them. You know, there's some more serious stuff on there, but I think they're great. Absolutely love it. So yeah, we've got 2 solid albums from Germany's thrashing underdogs, the mighty Tankard. Trying to show them off anyway. Okay, so we've gone through the Bay Area, then we've leapt over to Germany. Now we're going back to California for one of my all-time favourite thrash bands. And I found these on US import and I could not resist because these are some of my favourite thrash albums. We're talking the mighty Testament. I love Testament, absolutely adore Testament. We've got some truly amazing albums in their discography, right back with their classics, like their debut, The Legacy, here, which is just a masterpiece. But also more latter albums have been absolutely incredible from them as well. Albums like Dark Roots of the Earth, which was the first album that I remember. No, lie, that wasn't the first album that I bought from them. That was the second. I can actually remember walking to HMV in the town that I used to live in on the morning of the day it was released and picking that up. They had one copy. Criminal. But yes, I managed to snag that. And I've absolutely loved them ever since the first album of theirs that I heard, which was the second album, The New Order. And I adore that. But look at that freaking colour scheme. That is amazing. And I absolutely adore this album. It's so good. I can't remember after that what album it was that I heard. I know that the first one I heard was The New Order. Then it was Dark Roots. But I love Testament. Just tracks like Over the Wall, The Haunting, Burnt Offerings, First Strike is Deadly, Do or Die, Apocalyptic City. Freaking love it. Incredible stuff. Can't quite remember off the top of my head the year of release for this one. I believe it was 1987, 1986 or 7. I can't remember. Criminal. But this is such a brilliant album. Absolutely love it. So The Legacy, got this really cool album, really cool colour scheme as well. It's a nice version here. Put that down. Then we've also got the second album, which I would say I do slightly prefer. We've got The New Order. I absolutely adore this album as well. It's a freaking benchmark album. Great cover. Such a solid lineup. Chuck Billy is such a good vocalist. You know, he can actually sing. He did the Death Growl stuff with albums like The Gathering. You also got Alex Skolnick, lead guitar, freaking riff master. Eric Peterson, absolutely brilliant guitarist. We had Louis Clement on drums here, and we also had Greg Christian on bass. Classics, all through and through. The New Order, Trial by Fire, Into the Pit, Hypnosis, Disciples of the Watch, The Preacher, Day of Reckoning. Masterpiece. Just check out this colour scheme. So cool. So these are 2024 reissues. Megaforce Worldwide / Nuclear Blast. Very nice. I think there's different versions of these recent reissues that you can get hold of. But I got these ones because it was by far the cheapest. It was, I think, all three was... I can't even remember. But it was a lot less than if you went on Amazon or whatever. So this absolute classic. If you have not heard either of these two albums, then you freaking need to correct that. Because they are benchmark albums. And the final piece of the puzzle, they've got Practice What You Preach. So I was a little bit late getting into this album, the third album. I think this one, again, can't recall the year of release on this. So frustrating. I feel like this was... I feel like it was 87, 88, 89. And after this review, I'm going to be kicking myself when I look. But I feel like this was 89. As I say, a bit slow getting into this one. Now I think it's a brilliant album. A little bit different. You know, it's starting to be influenced, I think, definitely by some of the bigger bands. The Metallicas. They're starting to cash in on a bit more of the radio-friendly sound stuff. We've got a ballad on here as well. But actually, I think this is a really good album. It's still a thrashing album. Practice What You Preach. Perilous Nation. Envy Life. Time Is Coming. Greenhouse Effect. Obviously, we've got Sin of Omission. The Ballad. Nightmare. Really good. Really good. Lineup. Still the same. Solid. Chuck's got a great voice. And I just love the guitar sound here as well. Really solid. A little bit late to the party on this one, so it's definitely not an absolute favourite of mine, but it has certainly grown on me massively over time, and I've grown to really, really love it. But I freaking love Testament. They are definitely within my top 5 thrash bands, comfortably, without a doubt. So, there we have it. a rundown of my most recent Thrashin vinyl collection update there. Of course, we had Exodus, the Bay Area Kings with the Atrocity Exhibition, Exhibit A. Bloody love that one. We got Death Angel with The Art of Dying, of course. Great album. Really enjoying that one. Thrash and Underdogs, we got Tankard with Kings of Beer. And of course we had Disco Destroyer. And then we've got 3 all-time masterpieces, absolute classic albums. I consider these to be benchmark thrash albums, definitely. I know a lot of people do too. I've never had the pleasure of seeing Testament live. I hope to one day soon. But the Legacy, the debut, I love it. Really, in terms of like when it was released, you know, you could say it's a little bit late to the party, almost. It's a little bit later, you know, we've had Rain and Blood, we've had Kill 'Em All, we've had Ride the Lightning, we've had Master of Puppets, not quite, but we've had a lot of those classic albums, But I personally feel that there's such a magic to this band and to these albums, these 3 in particular. They just really stand out for me. So they've got the Legacy. We've also got the New Order, which I love this album. It has such an aura to it, such an atmosphere, and it's just some of those riffs are just so catchy. It's just unbelievable. And then of course, Practice What You Preach, another great album, a classic album, of course, and a very sophisticated thrashing album, I would say. The Mighty Testament. Hail. Freaking hail. So, there we have it. This is my latest additions to the Thrashin vinyl collection. What are your thoughts and opinions on these bands, on these albums? Interested to hear thoughts and opinions of others as always. Do let me know. But thank you very much for watching this humble collection update. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. The support is very much appreciated. Thank you very much for the continued support. Feel free to check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good heavy things, more ramblings from me. Thanks again. Do take care of yourselves. Until next time, stay frickin' heavy.